Starting, she will stop another computer sound. Vishal Prakash Babu, do you want to stop sharing your computer sound? Or if I continue, I think it will automatically stop. Okay, thank you. So before I start, Prabhu, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, should I recap the whole thing? Or should I start from where I
Sorry,
left?
what was the question, Mataji?
Should I recap just like I did last week for the entire chapter, like for the section about the Prachinabari, or should I start from where I left off? How does the part 2 work?
Maybe you can summarize the part 1
Yeah.
briefly. You don't have to go into the whole Prachina Barhe pastime, but
At
at
all,
least,
right? At all.
yeah. No need. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay. So. So let's do actually Jana prayers, and then I will let's do the Mangalacharna prayers now, and then I will recap from for this chapter from 1 through 21 verses, and then we already read till 30, so we'll have readers read from 30 to 51, 31 to 51, and then we'll get into the discussion. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshuroन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. मुखं करति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do the recap. So we were here. So the activities of the Pracetās is the title for this chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30. So in the first 7 verses, we saw how Lord Vasudeva appear in the front of the Pracetās. It is just a summary, and then I'll get into the actual discussion of what we did last week. Then the Lord gives the benediction to the Pracetās from 8 to 21 verses. And the Pracetās respond to Lord's benediction with their prayers from 22 to 30. Pracetās requesting benedictions 31 to 42. And Pracetās marry Marisha and birth and activities of Daksha. So we saw that this whole conversation is encapsulated within Vidura and Maitreya's Maitreya Muni's conversation. And Vidura asked Maitreya, he wants to know what did they obtain in this material world. The Pracetās, what did they obtain in this material world? Because he was sure that they would go back to Godhead, but he wants to know if, for all the penances that they did for 10,000 years, what did they achieve anything materially, or is it just that they just went back to Godhead? So he just wants to know that. So, so just a little bit of, how it happened is that in chapter 24, Lord Shiva, so the king Prachinabari, his sons are the Prachetas. Their names are not given. It says 10 sons. They are collectively called as Prachetas. And these Prachetas, very obedient to their father. And when the father said, you need to get, you need to produce and increase the population. And so you need to procreate. So in order for doing that, you need to do austerities. So King Pachinabari said, you need to go to the, and do severe austerity. So when they were walking to go to a place where they can start their austerities, they stopped by a body of lake. It's the lake Manasarovar. And then on that lake, Lord Shiva emerged from the water along with other demigods. And Lord Shiva told Prachetas, gave the Prachetas the Rudra Gita. It is a beautiful rendition that Shiva himself gave. And why did Shiva give? Is anybody who were there in the last week? Why did Lord Shiva give the mantra to Prachetas? Is it so that they can get a good wife? Or they can get good sons? Anybody who recollect?
To please the Supreme Lord?
To please the Supreme Lord. Okay, yes. Actually, he says that if you specifically recite this mantra for 10,000 years, then Lord Vasudeva himself will appear. He says that Lord Vasudeva will himself appear before you. And then Shiva disappears. Lord Shiva disappears, and then the Prachetas, as you can see in this picture, they go underneath the water and practice severe austerities. They did not eat or drink or any kind of anything except just reciting this mantra. That's it. For 10,000 years. And at the end of of their austerity, Lord Vasudeva appears in his 8-armed form with weapons in all his forms, just like on Garuda. So Garuda actually enters the water deep down and go to give darshan to the Prachetas. So and then Prabhupada says in that purport of that verse that one can offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, but if one repeats the prayers offered by great devotees like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, one can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. Just like Jagannath Gopal Prabhu said, he can please and satisfy the Lord. And then we went into some questions. I'm not going to go through that again here. It's just a recap. And then, so the Lord is now very pleased with their cooperative nature. So of all the things that they did, they did penances, they did not eat, they did not sleep, they did not, do any recreation. They did not even come out of the water for a few minutes to just get a fresh breath of air or anything. They just did it continuously for 10,000 years. And what was Lord pleased with was their cooperation, because there are 10 Prachetas, right? Then they're all brothers, and they did it cooperatively, without fighting with each other, without having any envy or without any being angry with each other. They cooperated nicely for 10,000 years. Can you imagine that? It's like, yeah, we can't even tolerate our roommates and our housemates without getting into the argument for a few days. So imagine, them doing this for 10,000 years with a very loving nature, cooperatively. So that's what the Lord is pleased with. And we went into the discussion about differences about opinions. So Lord gives the benediction that those who remember the Prachetas, you here means Prachetas, will become friendly with their brothers. Brothers meaning it could be, siblings like God brothers, God sisters, living entities, right? So what he says is that if we have any differences of opinion anytime with any other living entity or even a devotee, or, it could be spouses, it could be our children, it could be anybody who we do seva in the temple. If we just pray to the Prachetas, if we just remember the Prachetas, just remembering, not even like, say the Rudra Gita or anything, just remembering Prachetas, that the Lord gives the benediction that they will become friendly once again, right? So this is very powerful prayer. So we can all remember this whenever we go through some state of arguments or some conflicting uh, scenarios with our fellow devotee, like devotees. Those, and then the next benediction he gives is, the Lord gives is that those who chant the Rudra Gita both morning and evening will have their desires fulfilled and obtain good intelligence. By good intelligence here, Prabhupada writes it in this purport that good intelligence means going back home, back to Godhead. I know we discussed about this as well. Due to the Prachetas being submissive to their father and executing their austerities, their qualities will be celebrated worldwide. So they will become very popular and their qualities will be celebrated. What is a quality? Being submissive. So first they listen to their father. The father said, okay, go to the forest and to an austere place and do tapas so that you can get good, you can get a good wife, right? So they submissively heard that, and then they all traveled together nicely and they were going. Next, Lord Shiva comes up and says, do this Rudra Gita and then Lord will appear to you at the end of 10,000 years. They gladly did that. So they never said question, oh, but wait, our father said this, but why are you saying this? Nothing. They just submissively executed the activities of the of whoever the supreme authorities and who were instructing them to do so. And this is the quality that will be celebrated worldwide: being humble, being submissive, and in executing the austerities. And he also gives a last benediction. He gives Lord Vasudev gives is that they will have a nice son. Okay, and later on we will see who this son is towards the end of the chapter. I think this is where we stop. Oh, actually, yeah. Then they will also marry Marisha, and they will enjoy all the material facilities for 1 million celestial years. Okay, so this is the answer for what Vidura asked Maitreya. What did they get? What did they get in this material world for all the austerities they performed? They'll enjoy all the material and facilities for 1 million celestial years, right? It is said that that celestial years are like so what is it, like six so half a day for us is like 6 months of celestial years, something like that. So we can calculate how many in unlimited number of celestial years they'll enjoy the material facilities, and they'll develop unadulterated bhakti. So the devotees who hear these prayers will not get entangled in family life. And how to dovetail, we saw that every activity as a service to Krishna. And finally, we saw that devotees feel ever increasingly fresh, never lament or unnecessarily jubilant. So these are the benedictions that the Lord gives Prachetas when the devotees remember the Prachetas, right? So here we'll stop and then we will go to the chapter wise reading. 30. And then we read till 30 last time. So we'll read from 31. I just need like 31 to 51. So I think just one person maybe read the whole 20 verses. If anybody is willing, please raise their hand. Thank you, Nupur. Oh, Nupur and okay, so Nupur, you can read. I don't know who raised first, but Nupur, you can read the 10, and Vrinda slash Samaksh Prabhu can read the next 10. So 31 to 41 and the remainder. Thank you.
Dear Lord, we shall therefore pray for your benediction because you are the supreme, beyond all transcendence, and because there is no end to your opulences. Consequently, you are celebrated by the name Ananta. Dear Lord, when the bee approaches the celestial tree called the Parijata, it certainly does not leave the tree because there is no need for such action. Similarly, when we have approached your lotus feet and taken shelter of them, what further benediction may we ask of you? Dear Lord, as long as we have to remain within this material world due to our material contamination and wander from one type of body to another and from one planet to another, we pray that we may associate with those who are engaged in discussing your pastimes. We pray for this benediction life after life in different bodily forms and on different planets. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into the Brahman effulgence in complete liberation. For living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with pure devotee is the highest benediction. Whenever pure topics of the transcendental world are discussed, the members of the audience forget all kinds of material hankerings, at least for the time being. Not only that, but they are no longer envious of one another, nor do they suffer from anxiety or fear. The Supreme Lord Narayana is present among devotees who are engaged in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Narayana is the ultimate goal of sannyasis, those in the renounced order of life, Narayana, and Narayana is worshipped through this Sankirtan movement by those who are liberated from material contamination. Indeed, they recite the holy name again and again. Dear Lord, your personal associates, devotees, wander all over the world to purify even the holy places of pilgrimage. Is not such activity pleasing to those who are actually afraid of material existence? Dear Lord, by virtue of a moment's association with Lord Shiva, who is very dear to you and who is your most intimate friend, we were fortunate to attain you. You are the most expert physician, capable of treating the incurable disease of material existence. On account of our great future, we have been able to take shelter at your lotus feet. Dear Lord, we have studied the Vedas, accepted a spiritual master, and offered respect to Brahmanas, advanced devotees, and aged personalities who are spiritually very advanced. We have offered our respects to them, and we have not been envious of any brother, friends, or anyone else. We have also undergone severe austerities within the water and have not taken food for a long time. All these spiritual assets of ours are simply offered for your satisfaction. We pray for this benediction only and nothing more. Dear Lord, even great yogis and mystics who are very much advanced by virtue of austerities and knowledge, and who have completely situated themselves in pure existence, as well as great personalities like Manu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, cannot fully understand your glories and potencies. Nonetheless, they have offered their prayers according to their own capacities. In the same way, we, although much lower than these personalities, also offer our prayers according to our own capability.
Thanks, Nupur. Vrinda or Samaksh Prabhu. I don't know who raised their hands.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Samaksh Prabhu. So you can read from 42 to the rest of the thing. Thank you.
Dear Lord, you have no enemies or friends. Therefore, you are equal to everyone. You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities, and your transcendental form is always beyond the material creation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead because you remain everywhere within all existence. You are consequently known as Vasudev. we offer you our respectful obeisances. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the protector of surrendered souls, being thus addressed by the Prachetas and worshipped by them, replied, May whatever you have prayed for be fulfilled. After saying this, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose prowess is never defeated, left. The Prachetas were unwilling to be separated from him because they had not seen him to their full satisfaction. Thereafter, all the Prachetas emerged from the waters of the sea. Then they saw that all the trees on the land had grown very tall, as if to obstruct the path to the heavenly planets. These trees had covered the entire surface of the world. At this time, the Prachetas became very angry. My dear king, at the time of devastation, Lord Shiva emit fire and air from his mouth out of anger to make the surface of the earth completely treeless. The Prachetas also emitted fire and air from their mouths. After seeing that all the trees on the surface of the earth were being turned to ashes, Lord Brahma immediately came to the sons of King Bharishman and pacified them with the words of logic. The remaining trees, being very much afraid of Prachetas, immediately delivered their daughters at the advice of Lord Brahma. Following the order of Brahma, all the Prachetas accepted the girl as their wife. From the womb of this girl, the son of Lord Brahma named Daksha took birth. Daksha had to take birth from the womb of Marisha due to his disobeying and disrespecting Lord Mahadeva Shiva. Consequently, he had to give up his body twice. His previous body had been destroyed, but he, the same Daksha, inspired by the supreme will, created all the desired living entities in the Chakshusha Manvantara. After being born, Daksha, by the super excellence of his bodily lustre, covered all others' bodily opulence. Because he was very expert in performing fruitive activities, he was called by the name Daksha, meaning the very expert. Lord Brahma therefore engaged Daksha in the work of generating living entities and maintaining them. In due course of time, Daksha also engaged other Prajapatis, progenitors, in the process of generation and maintenance.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, both the readers. Thank you so much. So let's get into the topic here. So the next section we are gonna so far we saw that the Lord gives them benediction for their austerities, and now let's see how Prachetas respond to Lord's benediction with their prayers. So Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of prayers, so there's a lot to learn from every prayer. So let's see. So each verse is full of prayers from 22 to 30. So we'll see what in a kind of a section by section. So in 22, the Prachetas say that the Lord relieves material distress, right? And he has all auspicious qualities and holy name, and is faster than the mind and words, and it cannot be he cannot be perceived by material senses. Now I just wanted to just have a discussion, like what does the Prachetas mean here, that the Lord is faster than the mind and words? Like what like does anything come to your mind about any pastimes, anything, anywhere that Lord exhibits, it shows up faster than the mind and words. Why are Prachetas praying like this? Why is there any proof for it in the in the Bhagavatam or any other Puranas?
Hare
I
Krishna.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
no, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu. So I remember Ambarish Maharaja's pastime when immediately Sudarshan Chakra appeared, which is like non-different from Lord Vishnu when when Durvasa Muni tried to kill him.
Yeah, beautiful. I was sure that somebody, will come up with a lot of these pastimes that I did not think about this. Yes, definitely, Prabhu. Yeah.
Gajendra also.
Yeah, Gajendra also. First the demigods came, but then Gajendra kept on praying, and then the Lord came. Yes, instantly. Yeah. Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, you were going to say something.
So faster than the mind and words. I mean, it's like Krishna says, right? Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna, like that. So he knows our thoughts even before we think of them, like that.
Beautiful.
So he knows our words even before we speak them,
Yeah.
like that. Being the Paramatma, being the the all-knowing Paramatma.
Right.
He's faster than mind and words.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's a great philosophical point. That the Lord knows even before what we are going to think. So yeah. So here you're all able to see this. I shared the entire desktop, so you're able to see the Veda base, right?
Yeah. But it's okay. Yeah. Yes.
Can you
Yes.
close the window with the participants? Yeah. Then,
Oh, that also you can see. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Oh, I see, because I'm sharing the entire desktop. Got it. Okay. So here, it says that just the way Prabhupada says that Vedas also indicate that simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, so that section is over. But I'm just going to the follow-up one on this. That simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can, without a doubt, become spiritually advanced. We cannot approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the speed of mind and or words. But if we stick to the devotional service, we can easily and quickly approach him. So yeah, so this is what I think a different kind of thing is that he's not only faster than mind and words, but we cannot approach kind of intellectually or by speculation, mental speculation, by mind and words. We can approach him through loving devotional service, but through the heart, from the heart. That's what is Prachetas are saying here. And at the end, Prabhupada even says this, that he can be approached easily by his causeless mercy. Thus, only by his causeless mercy can he be attained. Other methods will not be effective. So even when we do loving devotional service and everything, it is not because we did loving devotional service that the Lord appears. It's by his own causeless mercy. And thus, of course, Krishna sees, the Lord sees our effort, our sincerity, our intention, our emotion, everything. But when and how it should be given, it is up to his causeless mercy. So that is one thing. The next verse, he says, "You are pure, peaceful, and fixed in your Swarupa. You make the material world of duality appear meaningless. your appearances as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are meant for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the cosmic manifestation. So, yeah, here, I mean, I'm just seeing if, yeah, so he says that the conclusion is that although the pure devotees appear to engage in material activities in the service of the Lord, he knows very well that material enjoyment for sense gratification has no use whatsoever. That's what that's number 2 means, that you make the material world of duality appear meaningless, meaning even though it is giving material enjoyment for sense gratification, a pure devotee or a devotees of the Lord will know that at the end it's of no use, right? So it will not help us go beyond this world, go beyond the cycle of birth and death. If you are entangled, if you want to get entangled in this material world of duality, we can keep doing that and we can keep up with the cycle of the birth and death. But if you want to break out of it, then then the devotees of the Lord engage, even though they engage in material activities, they are doing it as a service to the Lord. When it says that you exist completely independent of all material influences. He who steals, he says, Hari means he who steals. So the question is, what does he steal? So the Pracetās are praying that he who steals, in that 24th verse of chapter, says that Haraye Hari Medase. So Haraye means he who steals. What does he steal or take away? Any thoughts?
Our pop.
Pop. Wow, nice. Yes. He takes away our is free from all the sins. Yes. The sin, the material contamination, the sinful activities that we have gathered over many lifetimes, all that he takes away. So that's what he steals. Then whose brain works only to deliver the conditioned souls. This is very beautiful. It's like Hari Medase, meaning that in order to steal, right? I mean, any burglar who wants to steal, they will put their brain into it, right? Like they want to do a bank robbery. It is not that they're just going to show up in the bank and start. Okay, Nupur, you say pains. Yes, thank you. It's not that they're going to show up in the bank and and then just put the gun to the head of the manager or the staff and say, give me the money. They'll have an entry plan, they'll have a hostage taking plan, and then they have an exit plan, and they have the whatever ransom, they want to get a ransom for the hostages that they are doing. I mean, they'll plan out the whole thing. It's a lot of brain work. Right. Similarly, the Lord also does a lot of brain work. Hari Medase. So the brain works only to deliver the conditioned souls. He's there only to bring us back to him. He does not want us to suffer in this material world. He just wants, by somehow bringing us back to out of this material world, so that we don't have to suffer this world of duality, of joy and sorrow and happiness and distress. So it lives everywhere as Paramatma. So this is also, there is this proof from Brahma Samhita also, where Lord Brahma says he lives as Paramatma. He creates this entire world, right? From small atom to the biggest mountain he creates, right? In between a lot of living entities. And he enters into each and every atom as Paramatma, right? He exists outside, aloof, but then he also enters into every atom, every living entity, from the smallest atom to the biggest, living entity. He creates and he enters as Paramatma and being a witness to all of all our actions. increases the influence of all kinds of devotees. I was just wondering, when I read this, I was very curious, like, how does he increase the influence of all kinds of devotees? Like, what is, I mean, Krishna is Krishna, right? I mean, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He doesn't let anybody else take over that place as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. What does it mean by influences all kinds of devotees? What influence does he give? Any thoughts? Influence meaning, I don't know if you want me to elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, some like what exactly does it mean here?
Okay.
It's, yeah.
So I guess influence, so when there is an influence over, for example, I have an influence over my manager, meaning the manager has given me some authority to do something, right? And on behalf of him, I can act like that. So so I can do things that my manager does, something like that, to that effect. I have influence over,
Uh,
right? That, like that.
yeah, I mean, in that case, then he empowers many of his devotees to have that kind of influence, right? Over, I mean,
Hmm.
have that kind of a jurisdiction. I mean,
Hmm.
in one sense, all the demigods are his devotees, and he has given that seva to them. That
Right.
okay, you take care of fire department, you take care of air department, Vayu, Agni,
Hmm.
like that. He has given influence,
Right.
and that is on a material managerial level.
Right.
But even like a devotee,
Yeah,
well,
devotees. Yeah, even demigods
yeah,
are devotees, but yeah, you're right. Managerial, that is more like departments.
correct, yeah. So even devotees, they get some sort of influence. Like
Hmm.
um one, there is this fringe benefits that come as part of devotional service. It's there in Madhurya Kadambini also.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, when those fringe benefits like respect, words of appreciation, followers, things
Right.
like that, that kind of influence also devotees get.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, again, there is always the choice that the sadhaka has to make, a struggling sadhaka, whether to go into the stage of Taranga Rangini. Taranga Rangini, yeah, it's Taranga Rangini, like enjoying the fringe benefits of bhakti, and then that way
Hmm.
one sways away from the path actually.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, that's the devotee's choice whether the devotee wants to do that or continue connecting to Krishna and giving all those, uh, dedicating all those benefits to Guru and Krishna. But anyway, yeah, those kind of influences like profit, adoration, distinction, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Any kind of like particular devotees who have taken this influence from the Lord and who's gained this influence from the Lord, that comes to mind. That is something that I was thinking at. Like any pastimes, anything that kind of.
So Dhruv Maharaj is a good example, right? He perfected his life.
Mm,
Then he got the benediction that he'll rule over the Dhruva Loka
mm,
for whatever, yeah, for the rest of eternity, I think. And
yeah.
that, yeah, the Dhruva Loka doesn't get destroyed even when all the other planets are destroyed. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
that is one example.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's a good one. But Dhruva Maharaj also prayed to the Lord, right? He prayed to the
Mm,
Lord for, yes, he went for an initial intent of having a kingdom greater than his grandfather, but then after the Lord comes and Lord came and give darshan to him, he completely like spellbound and says that he doesn't want anything, and and
mm,
and then he was given a lot more than he asked for. Yes, definitely.
mm,
Samash
mm.
Prabhu, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, ma'am.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like even
other examples like Prabhupada or even or like preachers or book distributors, all these simple.
Right.
The
Right.
fact that, yeah, so the fact that people listen, even Jay Shetty, so, and the fact that people listen to them in that way, like being able to influence others, and also
Yeah.
we and like our Gaur Gopal Prabhu and all, who are called by Ambanis, and what they never asked for it, but it's just the influence that Krishna has kind of.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Lord, yeah, the Lord has unlimited powers, and then he wants these powers to be unleashed for his devotees, right? And he gives it to someone who is very sincere, and he sees who is capable of it, and then he does it. Couple of things, I was listening to Gaurang Darshan Prabhu on this topic, and he mentioned something that is very beautiful. So Hanuman, when they were standing on the bank of the Rameshwaram, over facing the ocean to cross over to Lanka, Hanuman was able to easily fly and go there, and see Sita Mata in the Ashoka garden, and then give the ring and then come back, with so much ease, right? And his master, Lord Ramachandra, had to build a bridge with the Vanara in army to go and cross over, right? So the Lord takes a back seat, and he does it so that he wants his devotee Hanuman to be um, for the whole world to praise, and so the Lord takes a back seat. And similarly, Krishna, when he was like very small baby, he killed so many demons, Putana, Arishta, Savitra, so many demons he killed. And yet, in the battle of Kurukshetra, he did not even lift a weapon, right? Except for, of course, for one incident with Bhishma, but he did not even lift a weapon. He was acting as a charioteer for Arjuna, and so he wanted. So even for the killing of the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, he did not even take one credit for it. Yeah, everything went to Bhima, or yeah. So they were all like given to other warriors in the Pandava side. But Krishna did not take even one credit for it, even though he could have easily just summoned the Sudarshan Chakra and just banished the whole thing. In just one single second, he could have just killed all of everything, right? But he did not do it. He wanted his devotees to have his power. He wants his devotees to have, and then have them be praised by everybody in the world. So that is increasing the influence of all kinds of devotees here. Thank you for all your inputs. Then in the 25th verse, he says that from your abdomen sprouts the lotus flower, the origin of all living entities. You're always decorated with a lotus garland. Your feet are as beautiful and fragrant as lotus, and your eyes are like lotus petals. So this particular the verse is similar to the verse from Kunti Maharani, Namaha Pankajanabhaya. I it's not I memorize, although I memorized, I'm not able to recollect at this point.
Maline, Nama Pankaja Maline.
Malini is a lotus garland, and Pankaja Netraya is like the eyes, and Namaha Pankajangraye. So yeah, something similar to that. Actually, the verse is also, if you read it, it's also similar to that. Is like Namaha, Namahal, and then Pankaja will be repeated. And then the verses from 26 to 28 talks about how the Lord is all pervasive and supreme, bears a supreme witness. So here, we all know what the supreme witness that 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 they are talking about, right? Anybody wants to guess what the supreme witness is? It actually, we just reviewed it in the previous couple of verses before. How is the Supreme Lord the witness? What is the supreme witness he's talking about here?
Paramatma?
Yeah, Paramatma, correct. So, you know, so Bhagavad Gita says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smrtir jnanam apohanam cha. So I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So, so here Prabhupada says, I just want to scroll here really quickly. So Prabhupada says here that the Lord is present in everyone's heart. Yes. According to the desires of the living entity, the Lord makes him remember or forget. Right? According to the desires. If the living entity is demoniac and wants to forget the Supreme Person of Godhead, the Lord gives him the intelligence to be able to forget him. This is like, intelligence, giving the intelligence to forget. Because we want to forget. Similarly, when a devotee wants to serve, the Paramatma gives the devotee the intelligence to make progress in the devotional service. So the Lord directly witnesses our activities and experiences our desires. The Supreme Lord gives us the facilities to act in the way we wish. So there is also, the Lord's mercy is in manifesting in His form. I think this is a different verses 27. Yeah. So something I wanted to point out here was that yes, the devotees are always favorably accepted by the Lord. Yes, Virinda, you have a question? Samaksh Govinda. Or is it from before? I'm not sure.
It was
Sorry.
from before
Okay.
Mata.
Sorry, I just happened to see that. Okay. Yeah. So this it will come in the next verse also in the 28. We'll see the form of the Lord is worshipped in the temples as Archa Vigraha. Oh yes, this is what I wanted to actually see. So here Prabhupada says that where is the word neophyte? Yes. So through such facilities means like Archa Vigraha, like in the worshipping in the deity form, the neophytes gradually invoke their Krishna consciousness. Deity worship in the form of temple worship is the most valuable benediction given by the Lord to the beginners. All neophytes must therefore engage in the worship of the Lord by keeping the Archa Vigraha at home or in the temple. So is it only for the neophytes? Or should all devotees follow this, or does it only the deity worship is only for the neophytes? What is it Prabhupada implying here when it says facilities so that neophytes gradually invoke their Krishna consciousness, and it's only for the beginners? It's not, I mean, only, there's no word called only here, but I'm just saying that it's most valuable benediction given by the Lord to beginners. Why is it not the biggest benediction for little advanced like Madhyama Adhikari, or like mediocre devotees, like who've kind of little bit graduated from the neophyte stage? What is any thoughts on this?
Maybe because they are always absorbed, so they don't have to do like a specific way of like worshipping Krishna. Whereas for neophytes, like that might be a focused way of worshipping Krishna, because otherwise they might not remember Krishna all the time.
Right. So there is something that they can see and touch and feel and
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly what it means. It does not exclude others from Archa Vigraha worship or worship of the deities in the temples or at home. It is just that for neophytes, it's a most valuable benediction. And the same thing, Prabhupada will talk about it in the next verse. The Lord appears as Archa Vigraha. So we will just go here. He even says that I want to say about the story also that that Prabhupada says, but he says the form of the Lord known as Archa Vigraha is an expansion of his unlimited potencies. When the Lord is gradually satisfied with the service of the devotee, in due course he accepts the devotee as one of his many unalloyed servants. So by nature, Lord is very compassionate. Therefore, the service of neophyte devotees is accepted by the Lord. So in this case, he mentions a story of a Brahmana. So it comes here. So many of you may be knowing this story. It's about a Brahmana where he thinks of he has no means, he has no money to actually offer opulent bhoga to the Lord. So in his mind, every day he sits and meditates elaborate arrangements of bhoga being offered to the Lord. On one such day, like sumptuous food, like with, like 10-course meal and very opulent dishes that the Lord loves. So on one day, when he was doing that, when he was offering, there's one of the items that he was meditating on was sweet rice. And while trying to keep that pot of sweet rice for offering, he had a doubt in his mind whether it will be too hot for the Lord. So he thought that he would put his finger into the sweet rice and see how hot it is. So when he dipped the finger and took out, he saw that his real fingers got burnt. So even though he was just thinking and meditating this whole thing in his mind, um, his meditation was in complete transcendental, he was in completely absorbed in that meditation, that when he put his finger in his mind into the sweet rice, his fingers actually got burnt. And his meditation, he came out of the meditation and he looked at his hand, and he had blisters in his hand. So that is how the power of the Archa Vigraha, the worship is portrayed here. And eventually Prabhupada says here, consequently, the Lord in Vaikuntha immediately sent a chariot to bring the Brahmana back home. So how Jayapataka Maharaj explains this so beautifully is that the Lord is lying down in a milky ocean, and Lakshmi Devi is massaging the Lord's feet, and then the Lord was smiling. And it's like ha ha ha, he was smiling when the Brahmana saw his finger got blisters, and then Lakshmi Devi was asking him, why are you laughing, my Lord? And then the Lord explains about this Brahmana, and then the whole story to Lakshmi Devi, and then he says to his gatekeepers that go bring him back home. So that's when he immediately sends a chariot to bring that Brahmana back home. So it's so beautiful that even within the mind, even though we may not have access to our deities or to opulent, we cannot do opulent cooking, or we don't have the means to even, or the means or the time or any kind of a faculty to do any kind of seva. We can do all of this in our mind and very sincerely, if we do this, the Lord accepts it. So that's what they mean here. The next two verses for this section. As a super soul, you know the desires of every living entity. Actually, you should be the capital U, capital Y. You know the desires of every living entity and fulfill them. Then why should we pray? Right? So if the Lord knows the desires, why should we pray? Gaurang Darshan Prabhu says that, prayers are important. Even though the Lord knows, the Lord wants to hear from us. The Lord wants us to, say it out loud. I think Radhika Raman Prabhu in his class on prayers, he mentions this, that it is the way of connecting with the Lord. And if we humbly and submissively mention our prayer, whatever it is, very detailed, we can pray it in a very detailed manner. It's fine. It shows our first of all, our humility, that whenever we pray, we have to be in the humble position, because we are asking for something. Whenever we're asking or requesting for something, we automatically go in that humble position. So that is very important for a devotee to take that position. Otherwise, if we just think, oh, I'm not going to pray anything, Lord knows everything, whatever he gives me, I'll take. There is some kind of a pride that enters in when we think of when we get into that stage. But when we say that, okay, even though the Lord knows every single thing, even before I even think about asking, the Lord knows that I'm going to ask. He knows everything as a Paramatma. Still, it is good to get into that humble position and pray to the Lord. There is nothing more satisfying than offering a beautiful, heartfelt prayer. And we can follow the footsteps of these exalted souls like Pracetās, Gajendra, and so many devotees who we see in the Bhagavata Purana to learn how to pray. And then finally, the Prachetas say that as a part of this section, they say that we did all of these penances, all of these austerities for 10,000 years, even without food, water, air, recreation, nothing. So that it's for your satisfaction, we did that. And that is, your satisfaction is our greatest benediction. So now, the Lord at this point will ask, no, but you have to ask me for a benediction. I will not leave until you ask me for a benediction. So now let's see what Prachetas are going to ask, right? So the first is that Prachetas are saying that you are unlimited. So we want to ask for an unlimited benediction. So it's so beautiful, right? So when we, like I mentioned last time also, when we go to a person who is poor, we can only ask, let's say we want something from that person, even though they are poor or, not very rich. We can only ask up until that means of that person, like the capacity of that person. So when we go to the Supreme Lord, when we go to a millionaire, we don't have to ask for $20, right? We can ask for some bigger amount that the millionaire can afford. Whether they are going to give or not is different, but our request can be that to the capacity of the person that whom we are requesting from. Since the Lord is an unlimited, he's unlimited, Ananta. So we want to ask for an unlimited benediction. And so they also say that just like a bee which is approaching the Parijata tree for getting some honey out of that tree, because that bee is always going to get the honey from the Parijata tree, the bee will never leave that tree. So Prabhupada says in the purport, so from an orange tree we get oranges, from an apple tree we get apples. So like that, every tree has its own fruits. But in the Parijata tree, right, whatever we wish for, we will get it. It's a wish fulfilling tree, right? And so we can go and ask for anything we want. So what do they ask? What do you think the Prachetas ask the Lord? Any thoughts? Any guesses? What do they ask? Do they ask for a beautiful wife so that they can fulfill their father's instructions? What do you think he asks? I think we read this also today. Just wanted to know if anybody remembers what they asked for.
That Sorry, I want to let others speak also. I'm speaking
No, go
very
ahead. Yeah, I don't think anybody raised their hand.
sorry, someone did.
No, please.
They say they asked for association of devotees and in devotional service, life after life.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for the association of devotees, life after life. That's all they're asking, right? So they don't mind even coming back to this world, but even when they do come back, they want, even after life, they just want the association of devotees. I mean, how sweet is this, right? The Lord is right there. They can say, the Prachetas can say, just take us, to your eternal abode, so that we don't have to live in this this material world full of dualities of happiness and distress. We don't want to, we don't want to live here in this horrible world. We want to live with you and serve you and be, supremely blissful all the, for eternity. They're not asking for that. They're not asking for liberation, of course. They're not asking for heavenly planets. They're just asking for the association of devotees, life after life. And just a small kind of question discussion. Can we name some pure devotees of the Lord who prayed for something other than liberation or heavenly planets? I think there are many in our Krishna conscious scriptures that Prabhupada has explained. So anything that the pure devotees of the Lord, when it comes to the time for asking benediction, the Lord himself asks for the devotees to name a benediction, but the devotees said something else. Oh, sorry, I think there's a typo here. It should be something other than. Okay. Anything comes to your mind? So we just saw Dhruva Maharaj. I just mentioned about Dhruva Maharaj. He went, in the thinking that he will get a kingdom, but then he asked for he didn't want anything else, right? But eventually he got everything. So like that, anything comes to the mind of devotees asking differently? Satyavrata Muni. Yes. Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj. What can you explain, Nupur, little bit?
I'm trying to recollect, Mataji. Did he ask the Lord to forgive Durvasamuni?
Yes. Yeah. In that case, the Lord was going to act on behalf of Ambarish Maharaj to kill Durvasa Muni, but then the Ambarish Maharaj said something else. Yes, that is also correct. But in here, I'm asking, the Lord tells the devotees to, ask me something, I will give. I'm ready to give. Ask me something. But then the devotees don't ask for liberation or heavenly planets or even a place in the material in the spiritual world. Okay, Prahlad Maharaj, Kunti Maharani. What do they ask, Prabhu? What do Prahlad Maharaj ask?
So if I remember correctly, he says right Naiva Dvije Paraduratyaya Vaitaranyas. That verse. I'm not worried about myself. I'm just worried about these suffering living entities.
Right.
So
Yes.
that way he wanted welfare for them. Kunti Maharani asked for problems, no? Vipada Santutaha Shashvat.
Yes.
Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. But then again, in case of Kunti Maharani and Satyavrat Muni, the Lord did not ask them to ask anything. But they were just expressing their desire. But yeah, that's maybe those two examples are not accurate. But yeah, Prahlad Maharaj definitely, because Lord Narasimhadev asked him what, I think if I remember correctly. I don't remember correctly now. Yeah.
Yeah. Great examples, actually. Great examples. Yeah. Hanuman. Hanuman. Yeah, very good. Yes. Do you want to elaborate, Prabhu? Or Manishika, I don't know who is behind.
Haribol Mataji.
Very well, I know it's you.
As far as I remember, I think he just asked or he just prayed for just eternal service to Lord Ram.
Yeah. Yep. He could have gone with gone back, but he said eternal service to the Ram. Very beautiful. Actually, I sorry. Oops. Okay. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that in the Mahaprakash Leela, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Kolavecha Sridhar, ask me for a benediction. And what does he say? He says I don't want anything. I don't want anything. I'm so happy just the fact that I'm here, having your darshan. I'm so happy that to be in this association in this moment. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu insists, and then Kolavecha Sridhar says that he wants that the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arguing over a banana leaf and bargaining for a banana leaf, life after life after life. And what does Haridas Thakur say? The same thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu insists Haridas Thakur to ask for a benediction, but he says, anybody remember what Haridas Thakur says? He only wants I think Gautama Prabhu knows. He's just being silent. Anyways, interest of time, I'll just go ahead.
He only wants to see the Lord before he wants to leave the world before the Lord leaves, and then he wants to see the Lord before he leaves.
Yes, that is one thing. But what does he want life after life? Yes, that is correct. He wants to eat the remnants of the food eaten by the devotees. Can you believe these kind of benedictions that people are asking for to the Lord? I mean, these are just so pure, right? And like that, Advaita Acharya also, he prays that to be on his lotus feet, something like that. I'll remember and I'll post what Advaita Acharya's prayers are. That is also very powerful. Yes, so moving on. So 35, 36, 4 effects of Krishna Krita. So he says that so what does Pracetās want is association of devotees life after life. And what do they want to do with the association of devotees? They want to discuss Krishna Katha. So that is what they want, right? And what are the effects of Krishna Katha? Is it will remove the hankering. We will not have any needs and wants of this from this material world, material needs. It'll get rid of the envy, anxiety, and the fear from us. Right. So these are the 4 effects of Krishna Katha. And your devotees wander and purify even the holy places. So so what does it mean is that in this connection, what Prabhupada is mentioning is that there are 2 kinds of devotees. One is one type of sannyasis who stays in one place and then preaches. Another type of sannyasi who actually travels around the world and makes devotees. So obviously we know Prabhupada is the latter type of devotee who worked for our in our favor to spread Krishna consciousness throughout this world, without which we won't be even here at this point, discussing all this katha and nourishing, getting nourished from the association of devotees and hearing Krishna katha. So your devotees wander to every place and purify even the holy places. Even if it's a holy place, it gets even more purified by the just by the mere pure devotees visiting that place. By a moment's association with Lord Shiva, we attained you. So that's what happened. The Lord Shiva came and gave the Rudra Gita, and of course, it's a moment association of Lord Shiva, but for them it took 10,000 years for the Lord to come. Of course, this happened in Satya Yuga. So in Satya Yuga, people live for 100,000 years. So in that, 10,000 years is kind of ratio proportionately for us. It's like we live 100 years. It is like equivalent to doing 10 years worth of penance for us. So proportionately, it kind of, if you look at that, it makes sense. But then it was not like instantaneously they got the association of the Lord, but by the instant association of the devotee of the Lord, they eventually got the benediction of seeing the Lord face to face. All our spiritual assets are offered for your satisfaction. Again, they're saying the same thing about the spiritual asset here is their penance, their austerities. And we pray as per our capacity, and we offer you our respectful obeisances. So we have to pray as per our capacity. So whatever, how much ever we want to, so we cannot get beyond what our capacity is. So we have to know our capacity and ask for us. In the beginning, here he says you are unlimited, so we can ask for an unlimited benediction, right? We can ask for to be the lotus feet of the Lord. So the lotus feet of the Lord is to be at the lotus feet of the Lord is like the unlimited eternity, right? We can ask for that. Why settle for? It's not like we have to ask unlimited boons. It doesn't mean that we have to ask unlimited boons, but it is something we have to, because the Lord is unlimited, we have to ask something that is also unlimited. Unlimited in the sense it never goes, it never gets finished. It is never exhausted. So in that sense, we can only ask something that is eternal, not of this world. So which means we have to aspire for something that is always going to be our shelter, like the lotus feet of the Lord or association of devotees and things like that, following the footsteps of our acharyas. So the last section here, what happens is that, so after Pracetās asked for this benediction of life after life being the association of devotees and discussing Krishna Katha, the Lord offered, says Tatastu, fulfilled all their desires, and the Lord goes away. So then the Pracetās return to the land. So then what happens is that they come and see that the land is now filled with super tall trees that is obstructing the entry to the spiritual world. That's what the translation says. And the Pracetās get super angry about it. Why? Because there cannot be, if the trees are everywhere, there may not be land to grow the grains. And if there is no land to grow the grains, then there will not be sufficient it's like that, the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Annat Bhavanti Bhutani Parjanyo Anna Sambhava. Somebody remembers?
Yajnyan bhavati parjanya.
Parjanyo Yagyas
Karma samudbhava.
So by by food grains, the rain comes, and then there is a whole cycle, right? Then we do sacrifices, and then because of that rain comes, and then the rains, the food grains grow. So all of this happens with the Lord's the Lord's grace, that the entire thing is happening. So by the yajnas, by the rains, everything is ordained in a certain way. But if the trees are obstructing it, so what the Pracetās are doing is that here you can see that from their mouth, they are emitting fire. So all the 10 Pracetās, you can see from their mouths there are fires coming, and they are completely vanquishing all the trees, so that they want to give the land the space to grow the grains. So now whenever there is that kind of fire happening and lot of disturbances are happening, Lord Brahma descends. So this is where you see the Lord Brahma is descending in a swan. And so he's saying, please stop this fire. Don't burn away all the trees here. And then he requests the trees. So if you remember last time, we read about Pramlocha, the Apsara who gave birth to Marisha, right? And the Marisha, the Apsara left as soon as the baby was born. The Apsara left as soon as the baby was born. The sage Kandu says, okay, that's too much responsibility. I cannot take care of the baby now. And so he left. So the baby was just left alone in the jungle. And so the trees took care of the babies, and the moon god gave fed the baby nectar every day. And so that's how the girl Marisha grew up. And so because the trees were taking care of Marisha, Brahma requests the trees to give Marisha as a in hand of a wedding, right, over to the Prachetas. So Brahma saw the burning trees and delivered Marisha in marriage. And so from them, Daksha was born. So Daksha is the second kind of birth. And in the first birth, we know that from the the quarrel between the Lord Shiva and his Ganas, had a war with the Daksha. And so Daksha's head was cut off and then replaced with the head of a goat. And then the punishment is still not enough. So Lord Shiva says you will be born again as the son of the Pracheta. So that's where this happens here. So the second birth of Daksha happens with the Prachetas, and the Daksha now then he actually creates very lot of progenies, like Aditi, Diti. Aditi becomes the mother of all the demigods. Diti becomes the mother of the Daityas. Then the rest of the clan kind of goes from that. So a lot of progeny happens from there. So that is the end of this. So I just wanted to see if we can just like anything that you had like a takeaway from this chapter. I'll just mention the takeaway after everybody says. Just like you can also post in the chat, like from all this that you've read, if there is anything, one takeaway that you remember that that can stay with you. You can just post in the chat, or you can just tell. Maybe we can just quickly go through.
I can go.
Yes,
Maybe.
Prabhu.
The biggest takeaway for me from this chapter is that friendly relations between devotees. Varamrinidvam Badramvo. That
Right.
verse, very, very instructive. And
Right.
that is something that Prabhupada also emphasized. I think Nadia Kishore Prabhu mentioned last time that Prabhupada also emphasized at the end of his life, and
Right.
Maharaj also emphasizes a lot on that cooperation and
Yes.
yeah.
Prabhupada. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
Thank
that's all.
Yep. Anybody else wants to go? Anything about the benedictions that stood out?
Yeah. So for me, I think whenever we talk to Krishna, like the Prachetas, how they prayed, we should not ask for petty things of this world. We should ask for something beyond this world, like how the Prachetas also prayed. And so so that could mean even like devotees association and things like that, because that's not of this world. It takes us beyond this world. So anything beyond this world or something that takes us beyond this world. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Ramesh Prabhu, I know you just joined, right?
Yeah, Prabhuji just joined. Yeah.
You just missed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, in the interest of time, I'll just mention. So for me, like my personal is that that prayer that the benediction that the Lord gives, that in terms of any quarrel or anything, any conflict between any two people or any in a community, just praying or just remembering Prachetas will immediately put them in friendly situation. So that to me was like so powerful that even the Lord Himself is saying that. So just praying that, Prachetas, please, just like you are so united, in your prayers to the Lord, please also let us keep us united. Um, and yeah, we can just offer that prayer. So, but from this chapter, so the foremost aspiration of a devotee is to hear Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, which exactly what we are doing right now. And Krishna promises that he says that Prabhupada says that Krishna is not interested in being in the Milky Ocean. Krishna is not interested in being in Vrindavan even, or Krishna is not interested in being with gopis even, but he is interested in being there whenever his katha is discussed in the association of devotees. So so it is like such a benediction that this Tuesday Sanghas are a means for us to have an open invitation for Krishna to be present, um, to hear his katha, to hear his glorifications. So thank you all for giving me the opportunity to, um, do something that's very insignificant from my perspective, as an offering. Um, and if there are any mistakes that I made, I'm sure there are plenty. Please forgive me. And thank you, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu and Gautama Prabhu, for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Not at all, Mataji. I mean, this was amazing, very nourishing, and very nice discussion points that you brought out. And yeah, you thoroughly went through the verses. That was so nice to see. Like you churned out amazing points from almost every verse, and you didn't leave out any lessons from this chapter, which is really nice. I personally, when I read this, I thought this is a very, very important chapter, and I was very happy that you covered it. So we needed that, definitely. Thank you very much, Mataji.
I initially kind of underestimated the the depth of this chapter. I thought I could finish it in one go, but yeah, thanks.
Oh, not at all. Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else has anything to say? Um,
I know
before
how much effort Nitya put in preparing. She was completely meditating on the prachetas and the prayers the last 2 weeks. So she put in her heart and soul for the preparation. So I appreciate that very much. And
Jai, Jai. I mean, I think this is a nice thing that happens when devotees know their chapters long, like well beforehand. So that way they get to meditate on the chapters, the verses, and prepare that way. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it definitely helps to gather points like this. Um, yeah, the past it has always been like the last 2 days I just somehow
Mm,
you know just get through something, but here this time I got some time. It made a lot of difference, definitely.
nice, Mataji. Yeah, I'll try to, as much as possible, keep this going. Give like a good prior notice to devotees, so that yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So yes, if there is nothing else, Gaur Kumar Prabhu has some announcements.
yeah, so
Stop
Ritesh
recording.
Prabhu and Nandini Mataji, they reached Shridham Mayapur yesterday. And as we speak, their wedding ceremony is going on. So last night he was telling me that they're seeking the blessings and prayers of all the devotees in the Life of Devotion group. So Please, before you all take rest today, please offer a quick prayer. Yesterday, as soon as they reached, exactly 2 minutes after they reached, the Aarti started, and his whole lot of members, almost 80 members or something of his family are there now in Mayapur, and they're all appreciating Ritesh Prabhu yesterday that you brought us to the best place. You brought us to Vaikunta. We never expected this kind of deities and darshan and aarti and things like that. So they're all very grateful. And overall, the ceremony yesterday happened very smoothly. And right now, the marriage ceremony is going on. So let's all keep Ritesh Prabhu and Nandini Mataji in our prayers.
Great. Hare Krishna.
And, and the other thing is His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj's Vyas Puja is happening on Saturday. So Jagannath Gopal Prabhu, I think some devotees are helping with the decorations. I will reach out separately, but yeah, I don't want to announce right now about all the details, but we can talk offline. Hare Krishna.
Recording also. Okay.
Oh yeah, I should stop the recording. Yeah.